Welcome back to the Hollow Tables, guys. We got some big news today yesterday rather, on the upcoming Galactic Legends stuff, and it's kind of good news and kind of bad news, and so we're gonna have to speculate a little bit, but basically you can see we got the Resistance Hero Poe, whose kit looks really good. A lot of the other YouTubers have done kit reviews on those, so I'm not going to go through his kit or anything like that, but since he got released today, and we actually kind of have a pretty good timeline now of when this thing's coming out, and before we kind of speculated it's probably going to be the end of the quarter, in other words the end of March, and so that's pretty much confirmed now that we're going to be getting some characters, and then over the next couple months we'll have more information, and it's kind of cool that they're going to slowly release the requirements, but my guess is the first round of releases aren't going to be anything that we don't already know. Like, they're going to say, hey, you need Rose and Holdo. Well, of course you need Rose and Holdo, but so I'm not really as interested in that, but I think that will be kind of good to know. But what's more maybe good and bad is that, there was a leak a few months ago about when the Galactic Legends first came out that potentially they were going to be perpetually available in the store. So not like an event like an epic confrontation that comes here or there, and then after a while it goes into the journey guide. The Galactic Legends seemingly are going to live in the journey guide, and you'll always be able to access them. So what that means, though, and like I said, that's speculation, and that was something that was rumored a while back, but that's looking more and more like something that's going to be true because of two reasons. For one, they've said just recently in the Q&A in January that they are trying to give us more advanced notice for these characters and kind of trying this out where we know more about what's coming and all that. But then at the same time, this timeline doesn't make a lot of sense, because right now the earliest Poe can be farmable is the end of March, right? So the cadence is 4 to 6 weeks after a marquee is released. They will go to they'll go to be farmable. Or I'm sorry, they'll go into stores and shipments, and then 4 to 6 weeks after that, they're going to be farmable somewhere. So even if they said 4 weeks and 4 weeks for those two pieces, that puts Poe at the 23rd of March as beginning to be farmable. So what that tells me is that there's no possible way we could farm Poe except in shipments for this event, which means that either they're lying about giving us advance notice and things like that, or the plan is to release the new characters almost alongside some of these marquees to say, hey, you need 7-star Resistance Hero Poe, and he just got released farmable a week ago, so you can either whale on him and buy shipments and everything with crystals, or you can farm him slow, and then whenever you're ready you can do the event. So that's what I think is going to happen because of a couple of what we see in the Q&A, what we've seen in the road ahead, or I'm sorry, the State of the Galaxy. So seemingly that's what's going to happen, and that actually significantly changes my approach to what I was doing with these characters. So I thought that potentially the new First Order characters were going to be farmable, or we're going to go into shipments today with this event, or with this new content update, but they're not. And they only do content updates every 2 weeks typically. If you look historically, it's typically only every 2 weeks, which means they're not going to go into shipments until the earliest in 2 weeks from now, which is almost a week into February. So what that timeline means, though, is that it's going to be another month before they're farmable at minimum, right? And probably later than that. So it's seemingly we're not going to actually have time to farm any of these marquee characters. So my whole plan up to this point has been hoard gear and save up some crystals as you can, and then that way we can kind of 2, 3, or 4 refresh the character nodes and get the characters done within a month or so. But that timeline is not going to make any sense because Poe's not going to be available until right when this event is available. So all that said, what it means, though, is that for me personally, what I'm going to do is focus on one of these characters with the other. Focus on Rey or focus on Kylo, and I don't really know which one. It doesn't really matter. My farming strategy and hoarding strategy doesn't really matter which one of those, because if you split out the two factions to get apart and you have a lot of stuff hoarded now, and you're going to continue to hoard, then you'll have enough gear to do one of them and enough relic materials in 2 months, right, to be able to do that. So, but the problem is crystals now. So I've been refreshing ship and regular energy to get Carvantes and some other stuff that I know is high need. But I'm going to stop refreshing right now and start hoarding crystals, because I'm going to have to buy, if I want to get one of these guys, that means I'm going to need 2 marquee characters at least, unless we see more marquee characters, which we might. But so in order to do that, you need about, to get them from 3-star to 7-star, you need about 22,000 crystals to buy them out of shipments. That's with 80 crystals per shard. You need 280 shards. So it ends up being about 22,000 crystals. So you can farm 22,000 crystals. Isn't really that big a deal to farm if you're getting first in arena and fleet arena every day. You can farm that in about 45 days for 2 characters, but you can't do it for 4 characters. And the timeline that we have right now, we have 2 months, maybe 9 weeks, 9 or 10 weeks, right, until these come out. So there's not really enough time to farm that many characters, that much crystals, I mean, and also get the gear ready for 2 different factions. So what I'm gonna do is wait until we see the kits and all that, and then we'll pump our crystals into getting the shards for either the First Order or the Resistance, and then we'll have to start slow farming the other one, because I'm sure these are going to be good characters. So that's my plan right now, based on the information that we have, where I don't think it's reasonable, at least for me, who I'm not really a big spender. I spend 20 or 25 bucks a month on the game. I don't think it's reasonable for me to have enough gear or crystals available to have 2 characters, 2 of these characters who require 4 marquees. And then keep in mind, once you've done all those characters, now you've got 2 more expensive characters to gear. You know, if you think Rey or Kylo aren't going to require tons of Kyros and all that stuff, then I think you're probably crazy. So anyway, so that's my plan right now. Basically, instead of farming a lot of gear, I'm actually going to just hoard crystals and save myself 300 crystals a day, because I've been doing those refreshes, 3 refreshes on 2 different nodes, or 2 different energy types. So I'm going to hoard those 300 crystals a day, plus the stuff that I get normally, and then I'm gonna have to choose. I'm gonna have to choose which of these characters to go forward with. So, and what's wild about that is they're constantly moving the goalposts here about how much you need to farm and things like that, because I've got 500 Chirotechs here. I've got 400 of these fusion furnaces that are needed all over the place. I've got almost 400 Mark V droid collars, and I've got all this stuff saved up, and it's never going to be enough. Look, I mean, I've got 1,000 Carvantes right now. I've got 300 stun guns, but if you look at all the characters that are needed for this event, 30 characters. It's an insane amount, definitely, and to get both of them, I think, is going to be very, very challenging unless you've already wheeled out on some of these marquee characters. And if you have, then you're probably not really concerned about that anyway. But from my perspective, I'm trying to figure out how to actually get these guys without spending an insane amount of money. And the way that I'm doing it right now is I'm just hoarding resources. I'm looking at everything that I have, and I'm just holding on to everything. I'm not equipping any gear. I'm doing my best to place high in the raids so I can get the gear that I need and everything. So that's my strategy right now, and I think that's kind of what I'm going to move forward with at this point, and just sort of hoard those crystals. I'm hoping to have about 50,000 crystals by the end of March, just from doing the best I can in arena and fleet, and then hoarding all the gear I can, and then dumping all that onto one faction, choosing Resistance or First Order. And that may be their plan. They may want you to do that. But I personally like Resistance more than First Order, and I'm hoping that the new Jedi Rey is going to be one that's worthy of investment in. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. I posted a video before about speculating on these two characters and what might be needed and things like that. And I think as they're kind of slowly pulling the curtain back, it's becoming clearer and clearer kind of what we're going to need. So that's my recommendations at this point. Hoard those crystals and hoard the gear. Don't refresh energy to get gear, because the crystals are going to be more valuable. You're going to need to buy these guys out of shipments if you want to get them right away, because they are not going to be farmable for any length of time. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it remains to be seen. I think it'll be nice for a new player to kind of look in the journey guide and say, hey, there's this character that I really like. I really like Supreme Leader Kylo. Here's all the characters I need to get, and let's get grinded, So I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it kind of remains to be seen. I think it depends on how good these characters are, and Depends on, like I said, the cadence of the marquees and everything. I mean, maybe they will release the marquees faster, and then they will be farmable. That's possible, but that's looking less and less likely. I was thinking the marquees were going to go in a long time ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago, and they you know, you can't even farm the Galactic Republic Y-Wing yet, and that's been in the game for a while. So it's not even farmable yet. So it's pretty odd. But I think that their strategy here is becoming clear, and one of the things that is seemingly happening is they are just constantly moving the goalposts. And I guess from their perspective, it's probably pretty smart, right? You wouldn't want to just release tons of every event's a legendary event, and you know that would make it easy for people to predict what you need. And I think they're just constantly kind of jumping around and trying to catch us off guard. And I think it's just you know, at the end of the day, we have to hoard. I think that's the only strategy right now is to hoard everything. And so I'm not wild about that, but I think that that's the right path right now. So anyways, that's all for now. I will see you guys next time.